And so Katawa returns. Didn't think I'd give up that easy now, did ya? So I did consider re-recording Shizune's arc, because the first few episodes were not quite up to my standards, but it does show how I evolved as I did the series, so I decided to leave it alone. You could hear the evolution of my amazing Misha voice, and Kenji voice, and all the other voices. It's nice. And everything's gonna get covered up. But let's just get this started.
A light breeze causes the naked branches overhead to rattle like wooden wind chimes. This is a popular retreat for couples in the summer. The deciduous trees provide a beautiful green canopy, far out of sight of teachers and fellow students. But now, in late winter, it feels like I'm standing under a pyre of kindling. I breathe into my cupped hands and rub them together furiously to prevent them from numbing in this cold. Just how long am I expected to wait out here anyway? I'm sure the note said 4 o'clock p.m. Ah yes, the note, slipped between the pages of my math book while I wasn't looking. As far as cliches go, I'm more of a fan of a letter in the locker, but at least this way shows a bit of initiative. As I ponder the meaning of the note, the snowfall gradually thickens. The snowflakes silently falling from the white-painted sky are the only sign of time passing in this stagnant world. Their slow descent upon the frozen forest makes it seem like time is slow to a crawl. The rustling of dry snow underfoot startles me, interrupting the quiet mood. Someone is approaching me from behind. Hi, Hasao, you came? A hesitating, barely audible question. However, I recognize the owner of that dainty voice instantly. I feel my heart skip a beat. It's a voice I've listened to hundreds of times, but never as more than an eavesdropper to a conversation. I turn to face this voice, the voice of my dreams, and my heart begins to race. Iwanako? I got a note telling me to wait here. It was yours? Damn it. Spent all afternoon trying to come up with a good line, and that was the result. Pathetic. Yes, I asked a friend to give you that note. I'm so glad you got it. A shy, joyous smile that makes me so tense I couldn't move a single muscle, even if I tried. What? What's going on? Oh. My heart is pounding now, as if it were trying to burst out from my chest and claim this girl for itself. So, here we are, out in the cold. Once again, the wind stirs up the branches. The cacophonous noise is music to my ears. Iwanako flinches ever so softly against the gust of wind. As it passes, she rights herself, as if supported by some new confidence. Her eyes lock with mine, and she lazily twirls her long dark hair around her finger. All the while, the anxious beating of my heart grows louder. This doesn't sound good. My throat is tight. I doubt I could force a word out, even if I tried. You see, I wanted to know if you'd go out with me. I stand there motionless, save for my pounding heart. I want to say something in reply, but my vocal cords feel like they've been stretched beyond the breaking point. Hisao? I reach up to try to massage my throat, but this only sends spikes of blinding pain along my arms. Hisao? My whole body freezes, save for my eyes, which shoot open in terror. This isn't good. Hisao! The beating in my chest suddenly stops, and I go weak at the knees. I like the background on this. The world around me, the canopy of bare branches, the dull winter sky, Iwanako running towards me, all these fade to black. The last things I remember before slipping away are the sounds of Iwanako screaming for help and the incessant clatter of the branches above. Okay, what just happened? And there's your intro. Now, the title screen may have surprised you and made you think that I've never played this before. I have. I've gotten all the endings, done all the paths. And I have my favorites and some that I don't think are as great. But really, there's only one path I really got into, and the others I kind of just skipped through just to get a completion-wise to see like how it went, basically. But then my computer had a little bit of an issue. I had to screw around with it, and it got rid of the game. So, earlier today, actually, I re-downloaded it while doing Pokemon matches with Death Cloud, and eventually those are going to be up too. Probably sometime after this is. But, yeah, I decided to re-download it, and I was going to go play it, and I decided, you know what? Why not just start LPing it? I planned to do it anyway. It's been 4 months since my heart attack. Oh my god. Caged heart. In that whole time, I can probably count the times I left this hospital room unsupervised on one hand. 4 months is a pretty long time when you're left alone with your thoughts, so I've had plenty of time to come to terms with my situation. Arrhythmia. A strange word, a foreign, alien one that you don't want to be in the same room with. A rare condition. It causes the heart to act erratically and occasionally beat way too fast. It can be fatal. Apparently, I've had it for a long time. They said it was a miracle that I was able to go on so long without anything happening. Is that really a miracle? I guess it was supposed to make me feel better, more appreciative of my life. It really didn't do anything to cheer me up. My parents, I think, were hit harder by the news than I was. They practically had 2 hemorrhages apiece. I had already a full day by then to digest everything. To them, it was all fresh. They were even willing to sell our house in order to pay for the cure. Of course, there isn't a cure. Because of the late discovery of this condition, I've had to stay at the hospital to recuperate from the treatments. When I was first admitted, it felt as if I was missed. For about a week, my room in the ward was full of flowers, balloons, and cards. But the visitors soon dwindled, and the get-well gifts began trickling down to nothing shortly after. I realized the only reason I'd got so many cards and flowers was because sending me their sympathy had been turned into a class project. It's kind of mean. Maybe some people were genuinely concerned, but I doubt it. Even in the beginning, I barely had visitors. By the end of the first month, only my parents came by on a regular basis. Iwanako was the last to stop visiting. After 6 weeks, I never saw her again. We never had that much to talk about when she visited anyway. We didn't touch the subject that was between us on that snowy day ever again. The hospital? It's not really a place I'd like to live in. The doctors and nurses feel impersonal and faceless. I guess it's because they're in a hurry and they have a million other patients waiting for them, but it makes me feel uncomfortable. For the first month or so, I asked the head cardiologist every time I saw him for a rough estimate of when I'd be able to leave. He never answered anything in a straightforward way, but told me to wait and see if the treatment and surgeries worked. So I idly observed the scar that those surgeries had left on my chest open slowly change its appearance over time, thinking of it as some kind of omen. I still ask the head cardiologist about leaving, but my expectations are low enough now that I'm not disappointed anymore when I don't get a reply. The way he shuffles around the answers shows that there is at least some hope. At some point, I stopped watching TV. I don't know why. I just did. Maybe it was the wrong kind of escapism for my situation. I started reading instead. There was a small library at the hospital, although it was more like a storeroom for books. I began working my way through it, one small stack at a time. After consuming them, I would go back for more. I found that I liked reading, and even if I think I even became a bit addicted. Damn, why am I yawning? I started feeling naked without a book in my hands. But I loved the stories. That was what my life was like. The days became increasingly hard to distinguish from each other, differing only by the book I was reading and the weather outside. It felt like time blurred into some kind of gooey mask I was trapped inside, instead of moving within. A week would go by without me really noticing it. Sometimes I'd pause in realization that I didn't know what day of the week it was. But other times, all the things that surrounded me would painfully crash into my consciousness through the barrier of nonchalance I had set up for myself. The pages of my book would start to feel sharp and burning hot, and the heaviness in my chest would become so hard to bear that I had to put the book aside and just lay down for a while, looking at the ceiling as if I was going to cry. But that only happened rarely. Oh, I can't talk. And I couldn't even cry. Today, the doctor comes in and gives me a smile. He seems excited, but not very. It's like he's trying to make an effort to be happy on my behalf. My parents are here. It's been a few days since I've last seen them. Both of them are even sort of dressed up. Is this supposed to be some kind of special occasion? It's not a party. There's this ritual that the head cardiologist has. He takes his time sorting his papers, then setting them aside as if to make a point of the pointlessness of what he just did. And he casually sits down on the edge of the bed next to mine. He looks me in the eyes for a moment. "Hello, Sal. How are you today?" I don't answer him, but I smile a little back at him. "I believe that you can go home. Your heart is stronger now, and with some precautions, you should be fine. We have all your medications sorted out. I'll give your father the prescription." The doctor hands a sheet of paper to my dad, whose expression turns wooden as he reads it quickly. So many. I take it from his hand and take a look myself, feeling numb. How am I supposed to react to this? The absurdly long list of medications staring back at me from the paper seems insurmountable. They all blend together in a sea of letters. This is insane. Side effects, adverse effects, contradictions, and dosages are listed line after line with cold precision. I try to read them, but it's so futile. I can't understand any of it. Attempting to only makes me feel sicker. All this, for the rest of my life, every day? I'm afraid that this is the best we can do at this point. However, new medications are always being developed, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that list fade over the years. Years? What kind of confidence booster is that? I'd have felt better if he hadn't said anything at all. Also, I've spoken with your parents, and we believe that it would be best if you don't return to your old school. What? Please calm down, Hisao. Listen to what the doctor has to say. Calm down? Well, he says... tells me he knew full well that I wouldn't like it. Am I going to be homeschooled? Whatever my concern shows, it's ignored. We all understand that your education is paramount. However, I don't think that it's wise for you to be without supervision. At least not until we're sure that your medication is suitable. So I've spoken to your parents about a transfer. It's a school called Iwanako Academy that specializes in dealing with disabled students. Disabled? What? Like... As a 24-hour nursing staff, it's only a few minutes from a highly regarded general hospital. The majority of students live on the campus. Think of it as a boarding school of sorts, designed to give students a degree of independence while keeping help nearby. Independence? It's a school for disabled kids. Don't try to disguise that fact. If it really was that free, there wouldn't be a 24-hour nursing staff and you wouldn't make a hospital being nearby a selling point. Of course, that's only if you want to go, but your mother and I aren't really able to homeschool you. We went out there and had a look a couple of weeks back. I think you'd like it. Hey, Hisao, I'm not hinting at anything, but I like this school. It's got some interesting people in it that we'll meet at some point. Looks like I really don't have a choice. Compared to other heart problems, people with your condition usually tend to live long lives. You'll need a job one day, and this is a good opportunity to continue your education. This isn't an opportunity. Don't call it an opportunity. Don't call it a goddamn opportunity. Well, you should be excited at the chance to go back to school. I remember you wanted to return to school, and while it's not the same one, a special school, that's an insult. It's what I want to say. It's a step down. It's not what you think. All the students there are pretty active in their own sort of way. I don't think I should give that part away. It's geared towards students that can still get around and learn, just need a little help in one way or another. Your father's alright, and many of the graduates of the school have gone on to do amazing things. A person doesn't have to be held back by a disability. One of my colleagues in another hospital is a graduate. I don't care. A person doesn't have to be held back by their disability. That's what a disability is. I really hate that... Damn it. I really hate that something so... God damn. I really hate that something so important was decided for me. What can I do now? Well, what can I do about it? A normal life is out of the question now. It's funny, I always thought my life was actually kind of boring, but now I miss it. I want to protest. I want to blame this lack of reaction on shock, or fatigue. I could easily yell out something now. Something about how I can go back to school anyway. But no. I don't say anything. Fact is that I know it now it's futile. I look around the room, feeling very tired of all this. The hospital, doctors, my condition, everything. I don't see anything that would make me feel any different. There really isn't a choice. I know this, but the thought of going to a disabled school, what are those even like? As much as I try to put a positive spin on this, it's very difficult. But let me try. A clean slate isn't a bad thing. That's all I can think of to get me through this. At least I still have something. Even if it's a special school, it's something. It's a fresh start, and my life isn't over. It would be a mistake just to array myself to thinking that. Or resign, I think that's what it said. At the very least, I'll try and see what my new life will look like. Need to check my timer. Alright. That was your prologue. Act 1. Life expectancy. Alright. The gate looked far too pompous for what it was. In fact, gates in general seem to do that, but this one especially so. Red bricks, black wrought iron, and gray plaster, assembled into a whole that didn't feel welcoming at all. I wondered if it looked like what a gate for a school should look like, but couldn't really decide. Probably no. Of course, I didn't want to get stuck on thinking about the gate for too long, so I entered through it with a brisk pace that felt surprisingly good. Moving forward feels good. So I walked toward the main building of Iwanako Academy with this brisk pace. I'm alone, as my parents are taking my stuff to the dorms, and there's supposed to be someone waiting for me. The grounds are incredibly lush, filled with green. Doesn't feel like the grounds of a school would have, more like a park with a clean walkway going past trees and the smell of fresh-cut grass and all the other park-like things. Words like clean and hygienic pop into my mind. Makes me shudder. I shake them off. Stay open-minded now. It's your new life. You have to take it as it comes. That's what I tell myself. A few big buildings loom behind the leafy canopies. Too big and too many for just a school. Everything seems off. It's different from what I knew about schools. It's an uncanny valley. Even though I was told this was my new school, in the back of my head, it doesn't feel like one. What if the feeling is real or caused by my expectations of a school for the disabled? Speaking of that, I don't see anyone here. Kinda eerie. Makes me wish there was somebody here so I could anchor myself to something tangible instead of having this feeling that I stepped into another dimension. The trees hum with the wind and the green hues flashing all around catch my attention. I really like the vocabulary in this game, by the way. Very nice. Makes me think about hospitals again, how they say that the operating rooms are painted green because green is a calming color. So why am I feeling anxious despite all this greenery? Only after I stand in front of the haughty main building, I surprise myself by realizing why the gate bothered me. It was the last chance I had to turn back, even if I had no life I could return to. But still, after entering, there's absolutely no way I could go back anymore. Feeling nervous and with this realization set in my head, I open the front door. A tall man with bad posture notices me as I enter. We're the only people in the lobby, so it's only logical. You must be... Nikki? Nakai. So you are. Excellent. I'm your homeroom and science teacher. My name is Muto. Welcome. We exchanged a handshake that is neither firm nor sloppy, and he looks at his watch. The head nurse asked for a brief check-in visit, but there's no time for that now. Oh, should I go later? Yes, afternoon's probably fine. We should get going and introduce you to the rest of the class. They're all waiting already. Waiting for me? I don't really like being the center of attention, but I guess it's inevitable in a situation like this. Somehow, not knowing what is waiting for me makes me feel really nervous. Thinking of this, I almost missed what the teacher's saying. Do you want to introduce yourself to the class? Alright, I had to cut away for a second because I want to have a walkthrough up, just so I know what to go by. It's not like I'm doing this blind and just don't remember the options. Anyway, I decided, first off, I'm just going to show the bad ending to this game, which is with a character we haven't met yet, obviously. And I'm just going to follow it the way it says it, so I'm going to say, yeah, of course, I want to introduce myself to the class. Yeah, sure, isn't that normal? Messed that up, okay. Of course. But not everyone likes to be at the center of attention. Now, if you answer something else, if you answer the other one, that gets you in with two of the girls. Then you can screw it up later. I'm probably one of those people, but I guess I should be the first God damn. I should be the one to give the first impression of myself. Right, but it's no problem. Let's go then. Try to get my voice to vary there. Yeah, I can do it. My heart is pounding in my chest, and it keeps me thinking about my condition as I follow my teacher up the stairs. The third door down the third floor corridor is marked as the classroom for class 3-3. Muto opens the door and enters. Good morning, everyone. Sorry I'm late again. I hesitate for a split second at the door, freezing on the spot. Get a grip. This is a big step, I know that, but there isn't any point to worrying so much about it. At least not this soon. Alright, we come in. And right off the bat, we can spot one of the girls that you can go after in this game. I'm not going to say who. I follow the teacher into the classroom and look around, partially so I won't have to meet the curious gazes of my new classmates. It's pretty spacious. The ceiling is unusually high and there's lots of space left over around and in between the desks. An entire wall taken up by blackboards and the high, old-fashioned windows only make it seem larger. The students' desks are just standard wooden desks with a shelf underneath for books and wooden chairs with metal frames. Simple and efficient. I stop walking in front of the classroom and face the other students. They all look normal, like students in any other school. But then, why would they be here? They're probably like me and have something wrong with them. Only it's just not immediately obvious. Then, I notice that one of the girls seems to be missing the thumb of her right hand. It's a little jarring. Despite the natural tendency to listen when someone's talking to you, I tune out the speaker's speech halfway through while he introduces me to the class. Now, as you pan over here, you can spot, I believe, the second of the 5 girls. The only 2 of them are actually in your homeroom class. Okay. I notice a flash of dark hair and see that someone is looking at me. A girl with really long, straight hair that is pretty eye-catching. As she sees me looking back at her, she covers her face with her hands as if it would make her invisible. There's one boy with a cane leaning against the lockers at the rear of the class. It's weird seeing someone so young with a cane. Another girl seems to be making some weird hand motions. Sign language? She peers at me over the rim of her glasses, then goes back to whatever she's doing. She's kind of cute. So is the cheer-looking girl with pink hair sitting next to her. She's really hard to miss. I don't know how I didn't notice her the moment I walked in. Please welcome our newest classmate. He claps his hands and so does everyone else, except one girl in the first row who's only one hand. I cringe a little, but hide it by bowing in thanks for this applause I did not deserve. A collective silence tells me I should open my mouth now. So, I'm Hasao Nakai. And after that, my hobbies are reading and soccer. I hope to get along well with everyone, even though I'm a new student. And after that, being so boring. It's exactly like every self-introduction ever. I should say something more exciting. I end up saying nothing, and the teacher picks up from there. Everyone seems to be satisfied, even with what little I said, though. A few girls were whispering to each other, throwing glances at me. Could have gone worse. I listen to the teacher as he drones about getting along while letting my gaze sweep across the classroom. Okay. Everyone seems to be listening to him intently, and when he's done, they clap their hands again, which feels like a weird thing to do. The first girl claps on this round, with her one hand against her other wrist that ends in a bandaged stump. Makes me feel a little bad. We're going to be doing some group work today, so that'll give you a chance to talk with everyone. Is that okay with you? Yeah, it's fine with me. That's good. You can Hakamichi. She's the class representative. She can explain everything you might want to know. And who else would be able to do that? Better, right? How could I know? The teacher passes out the day's assignments and asks us we will be working in groups of 3. It hits me that I don't know who Hakamichi is. Slow. The teacher seems to catch my helpless expression. Oh, right. Hakamichi is right there. Shizune Hakamichi. As he calls out her name, the cute, bubbly-looking girl with bright pink hair and gold eyes waves her hand at me. I take a seat next to her, by the window. Hey, I guess you're Hakamichi, right? It's nice to meet you. Ha! Oh, I'm gonna screw that up. What? I'm caught off guard by her laughter. It's nice to meet you, too. But I'm not Hakamichi. I'm Misha. This is Hakamichi. Shi-chan. This is gonna be fun. Giggling, Misha points to the girl next to her, the one I saw using sign language before. It looks like she's been staring at me this whole time. She nods once nonchalantly to show that she acknowledges my presence, but only barely. She has short yet carefully, neatly brushed hair, a pair of oval-shaped glasses balanced on the tip of her dainty nose, and dark blue eyes that seem to alternate every few seconds between analytical and slightly bored. It's nice to meet you. Didn't say anything. She immediately looks at Misha, who smiles and makes a few quick gestures with her hands. Hakamichi nods and makes a few gestures of her own. I start to wonder if the teacher was messing with me, saying things like, "You'll be able to talk to people, and who better to explain things to you?" I can see you're a little confused, right? But I understand why you'd think I'm Shi-chan. Shi-chan is deaf, so I'm the person who translates things back and forth for her. I'm like an interpreter. She says it's nice to meet you, too. She doesn't say anything. You're the new student, God damn. You're the new student, aren't you? Well, Shi-chan, of course he is. If he wasn't, he wouldn't have been standing up there for no reason, right? Seems like a very interesting person, doesn't he? We knew there was going to be a new student, but we didn't know who would be. But we didn't know he would be here today, so soon. Hi-chan, right? Hitchin. Yep, it fits, doesn't it? Did I say it out loud? Just a surprise. I never liked that nickname. I don't really see how. It fits. You look just like I imagined. I need to get good at this laugh. Ha! Yeah, that's gonna be terrible. Just utterly terrible. Yeah, you look just like a Hitchin. Wonder why everyone seems to think so. Hakamichi taps her fingers on the desk to get Misha's attention. They gesture back and forth at each other excitedly, their hands apart. I think now I'm gonna stop this first part. I think I've gotten enough done for this first one. So, next time on Katawa Shoujo, we will continue talking with Misha and Shizune. And maybe we'll get to do our work and maybe meet some other people. I don't know. So, see you guys later. I need a better ending than that. Bye.
Wow, one episode in and I was already doing fantastic outros. It's great, ain't it? Hopefully this series ends up just as good as it was before, if not even better. And I have a few ideas on how I want to do that. But you're just going to have to stay tuned and see what I do. Intrigue.